Sometimes I feel like I should have just died in Iraq.
Hey man, how are you?
Alright.
I'm doing a survey just to see how much rent is in this neighborhood.
I was supposed to be paying like $800 and something a month, but it's like $2,000 and something they trying to make me pay because of taxes, but I'm a disabled vet.
How long have you been veteran for?
I went in 05 to 08.
Where were you serving?
I did a tour in Iraq, 15 months.
What's the situation now?
I went to pay my mortgage, and it was supposed to be like $800 or something. But when I went to go pay it, it said $2,900 and something dollars. They're basically adding on $100 and something thousand on my mortgage.
So how much are you owing now?
$100 and something thousand. Right now, I was going through a foreclosure.
How does that make you feel?
It's been extremely stressful, depression, I have anxiety, PTSD. It's a big trigger. I'm also going through child custody court, and I'm paying attorneys on both sides. The judges in the courtrooms just taking advantage of me, mistreating me, and it's like, what am I doing here? Sometimes I feel like I should have just died in Iraq when I was there.
A heartbreaking ending tonight to a story we've been following for months now. The elderly woman who lost ownership of her home in a tax lien fight died, and now her family is being forced out.
I'm going to say this, and you all just play the rest of that video on the side. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about this story. There is this family that had this house. It was in the grandmother's name. The grandmother was put on hospice for whatever reason. And upon her getting very, very sick, they found out that there was a tax lien put on this house. And so the tax lien essentially let any random person go and pay the back taxes that were owed on the house. However, the family did not have the money to pay the tax. And so the grandmother, who now has, as we just learned, has passed away, as essentially she was being evicted from the house. I'm going to say this. We have to leave seniors and babies alone. I don't know what the hell or why that's so complicated for people to rationalize. You cannot be so absorbed with making a dollar that you do something like this. I almost feel like the universe needs a reset when I hear stories like this. It's almost like this is equivalent to, and I'm going to say this, when I hear power companies turn the power off on people who have oxygen concentrators in the house, I'm like, really, dog? Really? And I understand that. But what if someone's not telling the truth? I understand that. But you're in that business. Get over it, right? The majority of them are going to be telling the truth, and it's not worth risking one person's life. So for me, hospice is 6 months or less. A simple fix for a lot of this stuff, if you're tax lien or if you've got a power bill behind, they get 6 months. They get a full out 6 months, and they ain't got to pay it all up either, because that's too much to ask for people. But they get 6 months to kind of start figuring it out as best they can. But just cutting it off or taking away someone's house, I am pro home ownership for most people in America. You all are not saving enough money, and you have to live somewhere anyway. So that's my thing. I've always said that. I think people should at least own a house, condo, whatever. And I'm not pro condo because HOA fees are just too high, but I think you should own some type of real estate. I prefer the land, honestly. However, it's fine. But when you do stuff like this, are you discouraging people to not buy a house? Are you trying to make them feel bad about it? The lady puts all the money in. She might as well have just been renting. Think about all the upgrades she put into the home. This is where I say America has a problem, right? And I talk to people from other countries, other continents at this point daily, right? I never, ever, ever hear of people being stripped of things the way we strip them of things here. Now, I'm not saying there are other countries where people are poor. I'm not saying that's the thing. But once you build something, it's like they don't just take it from you. And I think we got to do a better job of that. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments.
That's America for you. They want to take everything you work for. This is a terrible situation right here. Usual case, the family does not have the money. So everything that elderly person worked towards, the family just lose because they don't got the money. The homeowner needs to make sure, especially at 92. At 92, she should have made sure she had some funds set aside so this wouldn't happen, and been transparent with those that would inherit the house. The person, whomever, right? This is the plan if something happened to me. These are the funds that I have put up. It's no point in working that hard just to lose it. There should have been some type of system in place. This just happens far too often because there's no system in place. There's no communication amongst family members. There's no trusts, nothing. And then the government takes it, right? Most times people lose the homes due to probate. Just because they didn't have everything set up at all, or the correct way. It's always a missing piece somewhere. That's where we got to get better at. And they play off our ignorance, knowing that we don't know these things and we don't handle business the correct way. How many times do you think they're able to sell these same homes over and over and over again due to this? It happens far more often than you probably understand. And I know people that this happened to personally. Every time I look up, family member passed away, the kids didn't get the house, they end up losing it.
Balance due, notice of intent to seize or levy, freaking crazy. Final balance due, notice of intent to seize or levy, freaking crazy. Final balance due, notice of intent to seize or levy your property or rights of property. IRS, this is crazy. Like, I don't even, $4,732.55. Seriously, guys, I need help with this. I'm stressing out. This is from 2023. I worked for a company, the same company, forever. The company sold to somebody else, and I went with the company. They changed the name. I never left the place, drove to the same place every day, put in my time, and went home every night. They changed the name. That's fine. I ended up getting multiple W-2s. I filed the one W-2. I filed the second W-2. I worked for the other company for 8-9 months. I filed my taxes. They tell me I'm getting a tax return back of like, I don't know, $2,000 or something. Then they turn around and say, hey, we're not giving you back that money. By the way, you owe us money. I said, how do I owe you money? What? You know what I mean? I paid all this in tax, like $6,000 in taxes. They said, that W-2 you gave us, we threw it away. Well, why'd you do that? Well, your employer didn't submit it the correct way. Okay, that sounds like my employer needs to figure this thing out. So I reached out to my employer. I said, hey, you know, something happened. They're saying they didn't get the W-2. I don't know how, because I got the W-2, you know, so how didn't they get a W-2? He said, yeah, we're trying to take care of that. It was something with the Social Security office. I don't know how y'all work in governments and big businesses and all this stuff. I guess they file with the Social Security office. Social Security files with the IRS. I couldn't tell you. I'm a regular guy here. All I know is that he said that he filed with the Social Security office. Something happened and they got it wrong. They're fixing it. It's taking some time, but they'll get on it. I said, okay, great. In the meantime, what do? You just got to be patient. It's a process. Okay. This is 3 years later. Now I'm still getting letters saying I owe money. They haven't paid me my tax return, and I still owe $4,730. Now you're putting a levy on my house. I can't lose my house. I can't lose my house. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I wrote a letter to these people. I submitted my W-2 to the tax people, who sound like imaginary people, by the way, to the IRS, this imaginary place that you wait 7 hours to talk to on the phone. And I send it to them certified a long time ago. And I sent them my W-2. They never answered back. I called them. I said, hey, what's going on? They said, yeah, we got all that stuff from you, but you can't send us your W-2. How do we know you didn't just make that W-2? And I said, what? I said, the W-2 came from my employer, their name and everything, like it's their W-2. What are you talking about? Yeah, we got to get it from them. So I called my employer, like, listen, we submitted it. It's a process. It goes to Social Security. Social Security gives it to the IRS. It's a whole process, regular guy. You just got to be patient. But I'm about to lose my house. What do you mean be patient? What do? I don't have $5,000. If I did, well, I wouldn't be regular guy. So if anybody can help me, send it, share it out, call the IRS, tell them to just find the paperwork. I sent it to you guys so many times. I'm stressing out. I'm not trying to lose my house. I'm not trying to have a levy, note of intent to seize your property. What do you guys want me to do? I've given you the W-2. My employer, I sent you all the emails I've got from my employer. I found the place of the people who filed the taxes for my employer, went directly to them. They're like, hey, we're working on it. We done called the people. The government, they're slow. It takes time. Okay, I understand that they're slow and they take time. They might be backed up and they keep shutting down and all this good stuff. What about the regular people? What am I supposed to do in the meantime? Lose my house until you guys figure it out 6 years later? And then say, oh, by the way, here's your $4,000. What about my house? Somebody help me. I'm sorry. Somebody help me, please.
How did his employer mess up that bad? I don't even know what happened. Do y'all know what happened? Or what possibly could have happened? Look, I might reach out to him personally if y'all give me some good advice on what he can do about this. I know y'all be having some game. Y'all be sharing it in the comment section. There's some real intellectual people on this channel. What can this man do? We really don't got enough details to understand what happened, honestly, though. Maybe this happened to you before and you know what to do, though. I don't know. Somebody in the comment section said, with all the corruption going on in this country, it's ridiculous that they are doing this to you. The IRS owes us a lot. The IRS just out here finessing people, huh? Oh, but if you don't pay them, you going to jail, but they can take everybody else's money, huh? Somebody said my W-2 was messed up from my employer as well. This is a thing that's going on with a lot of people.
So I just found out that the city of Baltimore is trying to sell my house while I'm actively living in it. And I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this because Baltimore has been sued for these predatory practices. Yeah. And the judge denied the claims that these practices for tax sales is predatory. And so I'm going to set the scene. I bought my house November 2024. It was a house that was rehabbed. So essentially, they bought it for very cheap and then flipped it. They did okay with the flip. I'm not going to. It's a beautiful home. And in that, the price of the home substantially increased, but the taxes were not reassessed until 2025. So originally in 2024, when I bought my home, the taxes had been assessed at $85,000 for the home by the real property assessment. And then it was reassessed in September of 2025, where the home value then increased to $245,000. I feel like I got the mail. I didn't understand what that meant. It didn't really explain anything. So I kind of was like, okay, cool. And I also received word from my mortgage company in November that my mortgage would increase this year because there was a shortfall and I would have to pay a little extra to cover the additional taxes that I had. So I was like, okay, perfect. My mortgage company will hold this, will fix this in escrow. I'll pay a little extra. Well, on April 7th, I just got a notice in the mail to say that if I do not pay $2,900 to the city of Baltimore by April 30th, my home will be included on a tax lien sale in May. So, of course, I called the number. Also in this, I found out that I was not listed as the primary residence in my own home. How did that happen? No one knows. So I was informed to call the Homestead Tax Credit Office, which, by the way, I just found out today is only open. Their business hours are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the only time I can call this office. I had to call this office 10 times before I was able to get anybody on the phone to find out why my homestead tax credit was denied. And because it was denied, I was not listed as my home being the primary residence. All of this sounds confusing. Yes, it does. I would also like to add my first step was to call the Baltimore City real property tax collector, and they confirmed, yes, if I do not pay $3,000 by April 30th, my home will be sold to whoever will buy it during the tax sale. There's nothing I can do about it. And when I asked, well, when was I notified about this $3,000 tax bill? He said, well, our records show that we sent you a notice in November of 2025. Okay. So then I asked, was there any other notice? Was there any other follow-up before the mail that was dated on April 7th? No. He said maybe Maryland State would have sent you something. But I don't owe Maryland State. I owe Baltimore City. So, and you sent the initial notice. Why wouldn't you send a response or a follow-up? No, they don't do that. The other problem with not being listed as this my primary residence is that I cannot apply for any tax deferral because I need to be the primary resident. Mind you, I have 2 weeks to get this done. And I just found out that the office is only open from 10 to 2 to even get a question answered. And it just so happened that today the entire system was down, so I could not even get any help.
2 weeks, boy, I'll be busting my behind to get that money. I'll be holding up signs, busting my behind, taking up extra jobs. But I'm saying a $245,000 house that you're about to lose due to a $3,000 tax lien. It's $2,900. We rounding up. Man, I'll be hustling like never before. I'll be Rick Ross. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'll be hustling. and pushing it to the limit with my hustle. Push it to the limit. I'm pushing it. I be doing all of that. Like, it's crazy how you can lose a $250,000 house over a couple $1,000s. Somebody come swoop that up with the quickness.
And the guy said, well, maybe it'll be up tomorrow. Also, when you go onto the Baltimore City website to inquire about tax deferment, the page is empty. It just takes you to a parking seat. There's no information. So this is a message to the mayor of Baltimore, to all of my city council people. I did call my city council person, Odetta. Call me back, girl. And anyone who has bought a home, specifically a rehabbed home in Baltimore City within the last 2 years, please check to make sure that you are not going to be scammed out of your home. It's very unfortunate, and this is not something that you can just budget your way out of. These are predatory practices that have been put in place for years to make sure that people cannot grow wealth. This is not an instance of, well, you should have just had an emergency fund. This is predatory practices that then you will blame the individual for not knowing instead of the system for creating these predatory practices. And then the people who lose out are the people who are genuinely trying to live in the city, genuinely trying to make better for their community. And a private company could just buy the house from right up under them even when they are living there. These systems do not make sense, and they are predatory. But anyway,